It's got this quiet, remote feel to it.
These magnificent little islands, stunning blue water.
Shallow coral reefs, and the colours are quite spectacular.
The best snorkeling, that's the best.
And just getting these sweeping views of Thursday Island and the Torres Strait.
Culture is a massive identity to these people.
And how they're protecting their culture, I find it interesting.
You get to hear their stories.
Where their ancestors come from, where they come from.
And more ways of looking at life, I think, through other people's eyes.
You can't underestimate just how important these areas are to the people who live here, to Australians, and to the world.
We're all going to get to know each other over the next 10 days, so welcome on board, and let's go and share.
This trip here is that East Coast Great Barrier Reef and the Torres Strait. And when we talk about the Torres Strait, it is about the local heritage here and the culture and its history.
When we talk about World Heritage, these are places that are culturally and or naturally representative of very important things to humanity. And in Australia, most of our World Heritage areas are based on that natural component. Throughout the world, a lot of them are based on the human component. And the beautiful thing about Cape York and the Torres Strait is that there is an opportunity to recognise both the natural and the human component. It's where cultures combine, and it's where the past meets the current, and you look at your own culture in a very different way once you've been up. Thursday Island, Wabene, is Kara country, and it's surrounded by 5 different other islands as well. So we've got Kerry, Hammond Island, Prince of Wales or Murlag, Horn Island, then we've got Friday, and we've got Girralag or Goods Island as well.
We visited Green Hill Fort, and Green Hill Fort is one of Australia's few intact forts. The fort was built in 1893 during the period of time that the British Empire were concerned about an invasion from the Russians. There was a lot of expanding going on with the different empires in Europe, and Russia were also looking at expanding further south. So the British Empire commissioned a bunch of forts in and around Australia, Green Hill Fort being one of those, which for those who have an interest in military history, it's not common to see guns that well preserved.
And the view from the top is just amazing as well, with those cannons and just getting these sweeping views of Thursday Island and the Torres Strait.
There's about 3,000 people that live on the very small island of Thursday Island, and that's of about 5,000 people who live across the Torres Strait.
Now you hear a lot about Thursday Island. It's the only island you really hear about, but it was interesting to physically see their environment.
And the culture's being preserved through song, through dance, through art. Joey Leif, who shared his songs, and his kids danced for us. It was a really special experience.
Today we'll be showcasing you guys songs and dances from where I grew up, and the knowledge we passed down from my uncles to myself. And now I'm blessed to pass it on to our young generation here today.
It's a way of expressing the way the people are feeling. It's a way of keeping their culture and passing it on to the next generation.
And the stories of how those dances are used to teach navigation, or they're used to teach spirit. You know, there's a deep meaning behind each of those dances. They've got a long history.
And it's also a way of sharing culture with the outside world.
Moochie Head, we land at the beach, walk our way up through what you could only be described as real Australian red dirt bushland.
These termite mounds here, they're like the icebergs of the desert. They're mainly a third above the ground and 2/3 below the ground, and you can tell it's the same dirt that is on the road. And inside, they thermoregulate their nest by building all these tunnels so the nest stays at a constant temperature.
and we make our way through a eucalypt forest and we look at the different tropic birds that are there.
So we've got a sunbird nest down here. They're a beautiful small bird and they're really common in the gardens. So walking around Thursday Island, you might have seen some of the sunbirds flitting around.
Climb the hill up to where we can see a 10.4 metre radar station from the 1940s, which is a pretty rare sight here in Australia. This is radar station number 52, which was moved here in 1943 in response to the attack on Townsville from Japanese flying boats.
I found that fascinating. Thought it was fantastic.
Sea level rise flooded this area within about the last 6 to 10,000 years. Over that time frame, there's been people coming and going and moving around, but there's also been very strong connections to particular areas as well. So it's a place that's got a lot of flux, a lot of flow of people.
As we get into Cape York and Torres Strait Island, we're going to be seeing different cultures of the Torres Strait Island.
You realise that there's a lot more there than what you would first imagine.
You've got people from New Guinea coming down, people from Aboriginal Australia coming up. It's a real melting pot, but also with very strong Torres Strait Island culture.
And there's so many other groups that have travelled to the area, so there's a lot of influences. Yeah, it's exciting.
We're introduced to that with Laurie on Bardu Island, and he gives us a really good insight into the culture here.
What they've done is they've taken their traditional skills of carving and of passing down their stories, and they've transposed that into the contemporary world. Instead of carving wood or carving shell, they've worked out they can carve lino, and they can also carve recycled Tetra Paks to do printing. So they're taking their ancient skills and putting them out there into the contemporary art scene, and that's fascinating.
Going to Bardu was a real eye-opener. Meeting the leader, Laurie, was really a very humbling experience.
If I can give a bit of history, Bardu got the reputation of good lino carvers. I used to visit some of my nephews and that who did the art at the TAFE in Cairns. I was actually there working for the Queensland Police Service, and at the time there was 8 of us. All of us, we got into lino carving. Now, lino carving was not regarded as artwork. Nobody really sort of bought any lino from the Torres Strait, and we all took lino from the bottom of the printing medium and put it in a par with like lithographing and etching and that sort of thing. You would never think that lino would be collected by the national institutions of this country, like the National Australian Gallery, the Victorian Art Gallery, the Darwin Art Gallery. So the lino carving was put on the map pretty much by those group of artists, and most of them are from Bardu. And then now there's a Bardu Art Centre, and that's just sort of added to that stature of having good artists coming from this island, and a place to exhibit our artwork and show it to the world. Yeah.
In 2008, there's a possibility for starting an art centre if the council was to give you an existing building. And so we asked the council, got Laurie and them on board. We just celebrated 10 years. We do the traditional black and white, and we're now mastered with the colours, mono prints and etching. Yeah, but we'd love this to continue for another 10 or more and get our kids to get involved with the elder artists in here. We want to get the young ones to come and take over the baton, and hopefully we can stand behind them and support them.
And here at the Bardu Art Centre, what we practice is fingerprinting, it's called. I introduced that to the Bardu Art Centre when this carpetbagging and fake art kills culture came through. So when I found that the copycatters are taking patterns and using us as their own, we needed to have our own way to deal with that one. So every pattern has a meaning and it tells a story. It's like you're writing a novel, so it's in your handwriting. And what I wanted to teach the artists a way of fingerprinting their pattern. I'll just give you an example. When you see the turtle eggs, see the carvings? See, this is my own style. I create this style to represent rain and tide and wind. But that's my own pattern. But it's a Laurie Nona pattern. It's fingerprinted to me. I've got probably about 10 different vocabs of pattern that I use. Some of the young artists have 1 or 2, and they just use that pattern in all their artwork. So it's like a signature of their style.
That's what a leader should be, not someone who's loud and strident, but someone who has such a quiet authority.
Sharing his culture with us as strangers, you know, and they're preserving that. And I think that's the really good thing.
Cape York Peninsula is another one that the guests love. They really want to get there. The tip of Cape York is an amazing little walk. It's a very short walk, but it's challenging. The guests make their way up the rocks and onto the tip, getting their photograph at the sign to say they've been there, and it is a true bucket list activity.
And the fact that I'm quite happy to say that I've been to the most northern point of Australia by going to the Cape.
And we usually do sunset drinks at the tip, so it's a great afternoon.
Just fantastic, yeah.
The group of islands here is called Wathara Island National Park. It makes up a series of islands in this area. Forbes Island is one of the islands we visit regularly, and it's a great place to stop with great protection from the southeast winds and some fantastic introductions to snorkeling.
It's a beautiful inlet, a bay, and it's a sandy bottom bay which has given a gorgeous aqua colour to the water shallows. Speckled all amongst that aqua is dark colours of a reef.
And a lot of the time we're actually walking around on parrotfish feces. Their entire diet consists of the algae that is within coral, but in order to get to that they have to crunch through and process all the coral, so they've got an extremely hard fused teeth that create like a beak. They don't do anything with the calcium carbonate, so they just poo that right out, and that tends to be about a tonne a year per parrotfish, so that's how we get so much of this beautiful white sand on the Great Barrier Reef.
It is a migratory pathway for birds, so everything from your migratory shorebirds all the way from Siberia back down to Australia. Anywhere you see an ocean and island area come together, birds are the most obvious things that you'll see. We saw some migrating drongos, spangled drongos. You'll see them streaming down into the north of Australia. You get the rainbow bee-eaters coming in as well. And when we go on land, we may see some very large goannas. Lots of marine life, so we will see sharks. So obviously we've got rays, turtles, dugongs, lots of molluscs and invertebrates from the ocean.
We're actively involved in getting to know an area. It was great.
All of your stilt mangroves, there's quite a few different species of them. They're all the Rhizophora. This is a small-leafed Melaleuca, so similar to like the peeperbarks you get. As you can see, tiny, tiny scale-like leaves.
After being in this sort of environment, it's very peaceful, it's very calming, very relaxing.
Lizard Island is a paradise away from the mainland. It's one of the most beautiful spots I've ever been. And for the hiking guests, they have the opportunity to do Cook's Look. You do a 4-kilometre hike up to the top. It is quite hard, but it's definitely worth it. You have 360-degree views of Lizard Island, where Captain Cook climbed to see where he would be going next.
You know, you get up to the top and you look out over Blue Lagoon and it's just fabulous.
I enjoyed very much. It's really, really good. The view is fantastic. It's beautiful, yeah. The color of the bay.
We've snorkeled quite a few places. The whole reef is spectacular. It doesn't matter where you are. It's shallow coral reefs, and the colours in the water are quite amazing.
Giant clam shells with phosphorescence along the lip of the clams. Beautiful, yeah.
All the turtles.
That's another highlight. I think the best coral reef snorkeling is in Queensland.
The guests can kayak as well, which is a beautiful way to see that part of the world.
My favourite experiences on this voyage, one of them is Osprey Reef. It's a remote reef outside the Great Barrier Reef, and we need the right conditions. But once we get out there, it is just amazing. And you're snorkeling on a reef that is just so hard to get to for any tour operators. But as we've got our expedition vessel, we can get out and enjoy this amazing reef. It's one of the best dives in the world, just due to that visibility. And when we're out there snorkeling, we can see our divers down at 40 metres, which is incredible.
It's what people expect when they think of that specky Great Barrier Reef underwater diving, and it's a super ancient reef with huge coral growths and an abundance of life. And the connection that the land has to the reef and vice versa. The ribbons get a lot of fanfare in Australia, but the Osprey Reef is just that extra step. We've got some really good diving. The reef itself comes up to quite a shallow level, so you can get those real wall landscapes. You're hanging out where the colours are at their best, which is between 5 and 10 metres, so you're not missing out on any visuals, snorkeling as well as diving, because you're also getting that perspective of gliding over sheer, dropping reef walls. It's really up there with some of the best diving in the world. That's, for me, my favourite part of the job. I'm the dive instructor after all, and yeah, being in the water.
We do get close and personal to some of the reefs and in some of the bays. We have a big portfolio of site reports where we've been before. We share all information amongst the other ships in the company, so we have a good overview of where the reefs are and currents, weather conditions.
It's a very complex system. And then, of course, the continuous monitoring of the ship's position as we take those voyages. It takes a lot of skill and total determination when you're doing that, especially when you are navigating very close to dangers, like in Great Barrier Reef. We use a mix of digital technologies, the latest of technologies, and the old navigation methods. Being in the expedition industry, conservation of the environment is at the heart of each and every voyage and expedition that we take. And it's very important to safeguard these waters and keep them as they are. Since we are in ecotourism, we have to be mindful of that, and we always abide by those rules and to keep our emissions in check, not to harm the environment here. For us, we get special permits to travel these waters, to go to these reefs, and they're renewed continuously. Just to get these permits, you have to submit a lot of documents that can be related to your ships as well as the shore side. And we work in conjunction just to make sure that we're always on top of things.
They work with the local communities to get access to places that other people can't get to.
It's a respect story. So it's understanding that while we have different ways of viewing the world and thinking about things, we respect each other's ways of thinking, and we work out ways that we can do that.
And Coral do that very well. I've seen that with them in other areas. Books, school books, medical, things that's sort of a gift to a village. And I think that's good.
We are learning things, we have lectures and we are looking and learning, but we're getting out there and immersing yourself in the environment.
I didn't know very much about it, to be honest. But when you come here and you talk to people like Laurie on Bardoo, you go home with a whole different viewpoint on the places you've been to.
We've got like-minded people on board that genuinely enjoy each other's company, not only passengers but crew as well.
These guys are by far the best crew. They're all very keen to further their careers, and I've never worked with a more dedicated team. Their willingness to learn, that's the main reason why I keep coming back to this job.
And that's one of the best things about working here. Every day is not work, it's fun.
You've got a fairly small group and you all get to know each other.
They are very kindly, very friendly. We just like a family, you know, we talk to each other, we know each other.
They can read the room, the crew. A little bit of banter, a giggle, all of a sudden everyone's laughing. And the personalities, that's what makes it. I know it sounds corny, but that I love.
Fabulous cultural diversity, history, art, song and dance, stunning views, pristine islands, really, really special place. It's been a great trip.